Hello. Today we're going to demonstrate the replacement of the Beretta and Taurus factory trigger spring with the Wolff precision gun spring upgrade. A set of instructions is included with the Wolff spring. They're pretty good, but can be a bit vague if you're not completely familiar with this pistol design. So we'll get started here on a video demonstration. First thing that you want to do, of course, is clear the weapon. Make sure there's no cartridges in the chamber of the magazine. Go ahead and remove the magazine and remove the upper slide assembly. This is accomplished by depressing the takedown button on the right side and rotating the takedown lever on the left 90 degrees to the bottom of the frame. Depress the slide stop and the slide assembly will come right off the front of the gun. Next step you need to do is remove the grips. Time's sake, I've taken the liberty of already removing the grip screws. We'll go ahead and pull those off there. Maybe not. Okay, the first step that you want to do is to remove the trigger bar and the trigger bar spring. This is accomplished by using a small precision screwdriver. Works the best. Simply place the screwdriver into the where the spring area is and depress down to release the tension on the spring. It'll come right out. Set that aside. Remove the transfer or the trigger bar. By pulling it up and away from the frame. Sometimes you have to lever them up a little bit. There we go. Remove it, set it aside. Next step is to remove the slide stop and the slide stop spring. This is done by pulling slightly up and lifting the slide stop out away from the frame. And then there's a small spring in here that needs to be lifted up off the slide stop. There's a little channel up in there. You can use your screwdriver again. Push that spring up off that ledge. Off of there. Go. When that spring's clear of the ledge on the slide stop can be pulled out, and then the slide stop spring will come out. Next step is you need to depress the trigger pin. We're going to use a small punch to do this. You only need to press this out far enough from right to left. Keep the trigger in there. There we go. It fell out anyway. And remove the factory trigger spring. And all we have to do is just basically reassemble everything. First, reinstalling the trigger pin. Okay, and the next step in our adventure is to reinstall the slide stop and the slide stop spring. This is done by inserting the slide stop spring. There's a little dog leg here and a longer arm here. The dog leg goes down into the through hole in the bottom of the frame, captures the trigger pin. Allow the spring to just lay on the through hole for the slide stop. Then insert the slide stop partially into that hole. Use some sort of a non-marring tool if you don't want to scratch the frame to press up on the dog leg of the spring until it captures on the inside ledge of the frame. Then you can use a pair of needle nose pliers to grasp the spring, pull up and out until it lays down on the ledge on the slide stop. Lift up on the slide stop and press down into the frame till the leg's clear. Alright, the next step is to insert the Wolff trigger spring down into the trigger, the top hole, and you want to place the trigger spring assembly with the cam facing towards the rear of the frame and the shaft and bottom facing the front and standing upright like this. You'll insert those down into the trigger until they look like this. Then get a line. We want to reinstall our transfer bar. Next step is to install our trigger bar. And this is done by aligning the new trigger spring with the holes in the trigger and then inserting the transfer bar. This may take a bit of fidgeting to get everything lined up. There we go. Next step is to install the trigger spring, and this will fit into position like so. There's a hole on the rear of the frame that the bottom dog leg of the long arm of the spring will fit into, and then the little U-shaped curve fits down into the slot in the frame. And then what we need to do is depress it and let it click into place. Next step is to fit and press the new trigger spring into place, and this is done by simply letting it fall down onto the frame like so, depressing it and letting it fall down into the frame. Next, you want to function check to make sure you have operation of the trigger and hammer assembly. And if you have some handy, a couple drops of oil down here will complete the operation. Our final steps, of course, will be replacing the slide assembly onto the gun. Locking it back with the takedown lever. Replacing the magazine, making sure the slide stop's still functional. And replacing the grips. I hope that simplifies operation and how to install the Wolff trigger